Hey guys, Dan and Nick back here at Marmac Athletics, and we're going to talk about the 100 kilos position, or as I like to call it, the gateway to the north. 100 kilos gives you lots and lots of control over your opponent, and it gives you a really great opportunity to transition into the north-south position. However, it doesn't afford you many attack options, if any at all. So you want to use the 100 kilos if someone's getting out of control, or if you want to transition into the north-south position. So let's start with our traditional wrestler's pin, which we've been using as sort of the focus in this series. So Nick, if I could have your head right here. So traditional wrestler's pin, I've isolated Nick's elbow from his rib cage. My knee is sucked in tight. I have really great control here, okay? I've got a nice crossface making Nick look away. Nick's ear is touching his shoulder. My back knee is checking his hip. My right elbow can check his hip at any time. Everything's great here. But as always, I'm fighting a strong player, and that strong player is eventually going to start turning into me so that he's no longer flat. He's going to start getting his elbow in here, okay? At this point, I'm losing control of this position. Once these things occur, I have to move on. I can no longer maintain the wrestler's pin. I can try to fight to get it back, but usually I have to compensate for what Nick has done correctly by moving into another position, like we say, compensatory transitions. So as he starts to turn into me and bring his knee in, I'm going to take my hand and I'm going to come to the other side and grab his pants. So Nick, if you could spin around for a second just so they can see, I'm going to grab right here. And what this does is it allows me to check Nick's legs with my arm, and it also allows me to pull Nick up and, as part of that rolling log, roll him away, okay? So right here, I'm grabbing on his pant. Up here, I'm giving a nice, strong crossface. All my weight goes on top of Nick, and I sprawl out completely, okay? I crush Nick's arm that's underneath my belly because I do not want him getting his arm completely underneath so that he can come down by his own hip. Bring your hand down. Once his hand gets all the way down there, it's then imperative that I move on, okay? So if I'm in the 100 kilos position and I'm prepared to move on or go for a north-south choke, I can allow Nick's arm to come completely underneath my body. But if I'm trying to get back to another position, I want to crush this weight. Okay, so we're right here. Everything's going great. I'm sprawled out. All my weight is on Nick's chest. Perhaps I have some of my weight on his arm, okay? Now, at some point, if Nick is able to get his arm completely underneath me so that it goes down by his hip, he's able to start to spin out, and I'm going to lose control of him right here. Okay, so what I want to do is go to the north, the gateway to the north. What I like to do is bring my elbow over quickly and just start to transition. I try to take, there's two ways to do it. I can sprawl and walk my feet around the clock, or I can take a big step over so that my knee is on the other side of his body, and I sprawl into a north-south position, okay? So traditionally with 100 kilos position, I'm grabbing his pant, and I have a nice cross face, all my weight's on top of him. This is great. I can stay here as long as I want, or I can move into another position where submissions are an option. Okay, once more, gateway to the north occurs when I bring my arm over to the other side so that if he keeps spinning, he goes directly into the north-south position for me. Or I go into the north-south position because I want to by taking a big step over. The other time I'm going to go into the north-south is if he gets an underhook on this side, okay? This is horrible. He's going to come up and take my back, okay? Now normally he shouldn't be afforded that opportunity. If I have all my chest weight on him, he shouldn't be able to roll into me and get that underhook, but as we all know, strong players are able to make things happen, okay? So I'm in 100 kilos, he manages to roll in, get that underhook, I come back over here, I can go into side control on the other side, or I could have stayed and hung out in north-south, depending on what I wanted. One more thing, if I'm in the north-south position and I want to transition back into wrestler's pin, there's a few steps I have to follow. Nick, I'm going to have you spin right around here for a second. So, got a nice cross face up here. I'm grabbing his pant right here. Sprawling into north-south. If I want to go into the sprawling wrestling pin, before I bring this hand over to the other side, I have to replace this hand with my own knee. So I come up and then over, okay? I always maintain a sprawl with my left leg. So right here, come here, sprawl for maximum control, maintain my position, do not allow him to turn into me. When I'm ready, replace it with my knee, bring it to the other side, begin to isolate this arm so that I can start my attacks again, or remove his elbow so I can transition into the mount position. Thanks, Nick. So that's 100 kilos, or as we call it, gateway to the north. Again, those are just a few details. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. And if there's something else you want to see, just ask as well. Thanks, guys.